Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm all out with the days this week. Everything's all strange and a bit chaotic. So, welcome to our Thursday Breakfast Buddies Online. So slightly different again today. As you can see, Rachel and myself were at the yard this morning. And the reason for that being is, although we have moved to Plan B and are working from home as and when we can, we are also just running a little drop-in at the yard on various days for some of our vulnerable young people and some of our, people who need to just have a little bit of a contact with real people. And today's our shift down here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we are here just for this morning, just to see some people in the real world instead of virtual, which is important because, being stuck at home and whatnot, and all of this is going on. A lot of people are feeling very isolated and scared and worried already, aren't they? So
it's such a strange feeling from going back to the online days.
It's really, really strange. Look, we're going to talk about the whole Boris thing and the COVID thing in a minute, but as we always like to do, let's kick off with our internal weather. And also, we're wearing our shields. I know there's such a terrible reflection on this. We've tried different angles.
That's not a flattering angle to do that.
It's not really the one. It's not my best look, but it's keeping us safe. So, excuse us looking like we're about to go do some
dawn cruising.
I don't know either. Who'd have thought that one day I'd be sat here doing something online wearing one of these?
I know.
We'd never have thought it, would we? Okay, so let's start off with our internal weather. So I'll start this morning. My internal weather, mine's pretty good today. Mine's a little bit cloudy. There's a little bit of sun coming out because today's the first day I've actually left the house and I have left the house to take the children to school, but come down to work and seen some faces, and it's been nice just to get out and have that bit of routine again for a bit. So I'm feeling all right today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. This morning I lost my buffer, but I'm just glad I got to leave the house today.
Did you find it?
Not yet. So I'm going to go to the library to get a new one because I have to show medical stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm just glad to just be out the house, meet people that I work with. And it's nice than staying at home all day.
Yeah, just having a bit of normality again. Yeah. It's all gone a bit bonkers, hasn't it? Obviously the big thing to speak about this morning is who watched Boris's announcement last night. So in the afternoon, I started seeing different things on Facebook and whatnot saying, Boris is doing an announcement at 5:00. And whenever I hear those words, I sort of feel a bit of dread thinking, oh my goodness, what is he going to say now? What's going to be happening next? So for those of you who didn't watch it or not sure what's gone on, we'll just run through some of the points that Boris made. So there's actually not been any drastic changes in restrictions.
No.
I think probably the most important bit of news that was sort of reported last night was our number of COVID infections yesterday is the highest it has been since the start of the pandemic. And it is 78,610 cases in one day. Which actually is really quite scary, isn't it? And to think that's the highest since we started the pandemic, and we're now almost 2 years in, doesn't look good, does it?
No, not at all.
And one of the other things that was mentioned last night, that Chris Whitty was saying that they originally thought that this Omicron variant was increasing every 2 days, was doubling. But what they've actually realised now that it's actually less than 2 days, and the numbers are going to go up and up and up. And potentially we could see ourselves with the NHS overwhelmed again, and things are going to be really tough in the next sort of up and coming weeks. What have you got there?
So the gentleman named Yusuf said that the emergence of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 is adding to the winter pressures. So basically NHS is under a lot of strain again because of all of this, and so they're getting military support also to try and get all the vaccinations out as quickly as we can. Yeah,
and they also said last night, so I went and had my booster on Tuesday, and I had to sit and wait for 15 minutes after just in the sort of test centre, because I guess they just want to monitor you to make sure you don't have any sort of adverse reaction. They've scrapped that now. I think that, they want to try and, or they need to try and get through as many boosters as possible. So the 15-minute wait after your vaccination is now not happening. You just go straight away, I guess, which will allow them to get through more people in a day. I think they also said, I think it's from Monday, 12 to 15-year-olds can go for their second dose. One of the really important things I took from watching Boris's speech last night, and no surprise, it wasn't something that Boris said, because in my opinion, he bumbled and mumbled his way through it all again, not really giving us much. No. You know how Boris is. It's Chris Whitty that I really listen to, because I feel like he's the one who knows what's going on. But he said he feels that people are thinking there's not too much to worry about this one, because the evidence from South Africa has been that this variant is a lot milder than the previous. And he said that he doesn't think that we should rest on our laurels, basically, that's going to be the case. Because there's a number of factors that have happened in South Africa that may mean that the South Africans have had a milder version of it. But that's not to say that we will, and that's not to say that we won't start to see numbers increase and potentially be back in quite a worrying position. I've woken up this morning, I've gone on, different news and Facebook and spoken to people, and the general feeling is amongst people that I've spoken to and things I've seen that a lockdown is looming. I don't know, is that how you feel? Have you sort of heard?
I feel like they're trying to do everything they can to not have a lockdown because they know, because of things like, for me personally, I don't like the idea of whenever there was a lockdown last time, people who had chemotherapy couldn't attend those appointments. And that for me would be good reasons enough. However, I do feel like we have to do some form of lockdown for people to actually listen and do it. But it's really hard to do that if the people are instructing us to not do it.
Absolutely. I mean, it is really hard. And one of those points that they made last night, hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Sorry, we've got some people in here. And I said, can you be quiet, please? And I think they've forgotten. Oh, there we go. Nice and quiet. But one of the things that was mentioned last night is that although this massive drive is going into the booster vaccination, they want to still be able to prioritise also, health issues that are really needed and cancer treatment, because, what we can't do is
have more causes of death that isn't really
as a knock-on effect of this. Absolutely. It's a worry. I mean, I just feel like you can't call it at the moment. I don't know. The last thing, we was just having a quick chat before we came online, and I just said to these guys, like, the last thing I want, and it worries me, if the schools were to close again, I don't think that will happen. I think
they'll close schools.
No, we're further on now with our vaccination process than we were this time last year. So that's the one, I guess that's our fighting guns that we've got, is that our vaccination process. But it concerns me, and I just feel like anything can happen. This could go one way or the other. I'm really not sure. Makes you concerned about, is Christmas going to be sort of normal? Is New Year going to be normal? It all feels very much in the air. I feel like we're sort of this like the scales. This could go one way or the other. I just can't really call it. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, the one thing I've noticed, my mum spoke to me the other day to say that she's been to have her jab in doctors and then another place, so different locations. But when she went to get a booster, she felt like they weren't following protocol.
Oh, really?
Because it was like there wasn't any separation as much. It was more like people were lying back to back, like right next to each other. And when you sit down to have the jab, there isn't like a barrier. It was like back to back.
Oh, wow.
So Mum was really confused by that, because it was held in like a community centre instead of doctors. And to me, I didn't really think much of it, but I go to the one in King's Heath, and it's got shields, like borders up, but it is very much like you come in, quickly get a jab, get out, and it's very disorganised in a way. So I don't know if that will cause a problem in itself by rushing out all
Yeah,
the jabs at
yeah.
once, making everyone put in one place in one go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the trouble is that, let's just say morning to Sophia, the creator
Hello.
educator. Hope you're doing good this morning. They're under so much pressure now to get these booster jabs out, aren't they? Can you imagine the immense pressure and strain they're under? And sometimes that can then inevitably cause other things to be lax and to slip. And, you know, that's, I mean, I must say, when I went for mine on Tuesday, it was, I can't fault it. The army were there helping out, and it was very well organised and very safe. And, you know, we had to stand on spots, and we were in separate, like, sort of cubicles. So it was all very good. So I can't, you know, criticise them. That was very good. But like you say, not everywhere is exactly the same. And something else that happened this morning, which I think I was watching again, Good Morning Britain. I say this every day, like I'm just sitting around. It's just when I'm waiting for my kids to get ready, I like put the telly on. Now France have said that they've banned us from going. Well, not banned us from going. If you want to go to France, I don't know if it comes with immediate effect today. We now have to isolate when we get there. Did you hear that?
Oh,
they've changed it again. Yeah. So if you're going to France, you have to obviously do a pre-departure test. And then what I heard on the news just before I came out is that when you're there, you then have to isolate for 48 days and test again to then see if you can go. But obviously that could potentially cause a lot of chaos. You know, people have got families in France and going on holiday, or it was just said on the news this morning that potentially that could cause quite a few problems. Yeah, I know. And then it makes you wonder, will other places follow suit?
Yeah.
So creator educator, all good here. She's doing all the admin today and got her booster this afternoon. Oh, good luck with your booster. You'll have to let us know how you get on and how your vaccination centre was, because maybe that might be interesting to see how they vary from one place to another. But the only thing I don't understand, and I don't know what you think about this, is that I read yesterday that, you know, obviously we've been on a travel system like red, amber, green.
Yeah.
And now all the remaining countries that were on red are being dropped. So South Africa being one of them, which is where this variant came from, and a number of other ones, but they're all being dropped. So anyone can just come here now and they don't have to quarantine. And if you're in one of the quarantine hotels, they're now being told that they don't have to stay as long. And I'm just thinking, is this not a bit of a silly move when our country's just about to go? Apparently, the words from Jenny Harris, who's quite high up in the NHS, is that we're at the most worrying part of this pandemic that we could be. And now we're opening up for just all and sundry to come in, especially from South Africa. I mean, I know that the variant's already here, but surely that's something to feel a bit concerned about.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That would concern me, because when you said drop, I thought, oh, like they're not allowed to be coming over without like a serious isolation.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks in a hotel, wasn't it?
That's quite concerning.
And I don't understand the reasoning behind it, so I don't know. It might be something we'll have to have a look into. I don't know what their thought making on that process was.
Yeah.
So Sophia, I'm going to the same one. I've had all my jabs at, and they've been really on it, following the rules. So we'll see if it's still the same. Well, that's really good to hear, definitely. Let's have another look. The cases of COVID yesterday were as high as they were in March 2020.
The reason we went in lockdown.
The reason we first went into lockdown, and that's scary when you look at it like that, isn't it? Really scary. So, you know, not that we're sitting here to be all doom and gloom, but I think it's really important at the moment to remember how to keep ourselves safe. So obviously one of the main things is you don't have to have a shield like this, but mask wearing, public places, although, you know, it is the law now to do so. I know, I just watched a bus go past earlier and there was lots of people, the bus driver wasn't even wearing one.
Yeah, that frustrates me when I'm on public transport.
Yeah, so it's not just about keeping yourself safe, it's about thinking about others, because you don't know when you might be mixing with someone who's vulnerable, who's not been able to have the immunisations because they're, medical problems. So we've got to be wearing masks. As ridiculous as you might feel or think you look, it's not about vanity now. This is about keeping us all safe. And, you know, we're just around the corner from Christmas, and none of us want to A, be infected, or B, infect someone else over that period. Hand washing, hand anti-backing, again, really, really important, isn't it? I think the trouble is, this has been going on for so long now that people sort of, not forgotten, but it doesn't feel as, you know, if you think March 2020, when this first all kicked off, we were all like, oh my God, anti-backing.
We even had people walk 2 meters apart on a walk to the park.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and if I know we're safer because of our vaccination process, but we actually have the same amount of cases. So, you know, it's, we've got to be sensible at this time, I think. So yeah, make sure you wash your hands, make sure you carry anti-bac. You know, pretty much everywhere you go now, you can find anti-bac in shops and everything, can't you? Keeping that distance, 2 meters if possible. I know it's not always possible, but especially if you've chosen not to wear a mask, you need to be keeping 2 meters. Going out and getting your vaccinations. I know a lot of people don't agree with them and whatnot, but it is really important, and it's definitely saving lives. And some of the slides that they showed yesterday on the press conference would be in a much, much worse state now if we hadn't had the vaccination process. So I would advise get your vaccines or get your jabs if you can and you feel like you want to. And just lateral flows as well. That's really important. You know, that's what they were saying. If you know you're going out to a big Christmas party or you're going to see your elderly nan and granddad, do a lateral flow before you go. Takes 2 minutes, and it gives you that peace of mind that you're not spreading anything. And they're so easy to do. You can keep some in your bag, and then you've always got one. So definitely lateral flow as and when you can. I can't think of anything else. Do you think we've sort of covered that, what we can do to keep safe?
I think also maybe like avoid going out like that. It makes sense, but at the same time it needs to be reminded, and be quite cautious of what you do online when it comes to shopping and food shopping as well, because it puts a lot of strain for delivery drivers, and that's not fair on them either. Because I remember that was a big struggle when everyone was locked down, everything was being delivered, and the amount of stress they went through to do that.
Oh, I can't get a delivery slot for love nor money.
And I feel like I think supermarkets do this thing that if you are vulnerable, you can apply to be like on a short, like not really a short list, but like you get priority.
You get that priority slots, don't you?
So that's a good thing to keep in mind as well. See if you can apply for that if you are classed as vulnerable.
And if you are someone who's isolating or you know, you can't get out at the moment, don't remember like all the neighbours that you got to know during that first lockdown, and there's people around that can help. And if you haven't got anyone around that can help, you can drop us a message at the yard, and you can email us at theyard@communitycourtyard.org. And we are able to help if you need some shopping delivered, if you need some prescriptions picking up. The team are working behind the scenes in a different fashion at the moment, but we are around. So you can contact us on any of our social media. We are around to help if you're struggling and if you're at home. You know, and also we're going back to the times when there may be people who are feeling quite lonely and isolated at home. And again, you can give us a call or you can join us on these. There's just like, oh, Kathy, Merry Christmas. Hi. Have the best time. I know Kathy's actually managing to get back to the USA, isn't she? She's got a family there. She hasn't been able to see them for ages. And I saw on her Facebook the other day, she's getting back. So have an amazing time. Keep safe. And we can't wait to see you when you're back. But have a lovely Christmas. So if you're struggling, whether that be, you know, in any form, you can get in touch with us here and we will do our best to help in whatever way we can. Well, that's sort of it from us this morning. It's a bit of a shorter one because we're down at the yard, but don't forget tomorrow we've got our Christmas quiz, haven't we?
Should we remind of the Christmas dinner or should we do that?
Yeah. So again, we mentioned yesterday, we're in talks with the McCarthy Dixon Foundation. And if there's anyone out there who are going to be struggling to provide a Christmas dinner this year, and you're worried that you're not going to be able to do it, you can get in touch with us. McCarthy Dixon Foundation do some absolutely amazing things and have really, really helped people during the pandemic. And again, like we said yesterday, it's nothing to feel ashamed of or embarrassed of, because there is so many people going through tough times this Christmas, probably more so than ever. And if you feel like you're suffering with your mental health at the moment, or you're starting to feel, I know a lot of people are feeling anxious and whatnot, get in touch. We have different ways and means that we can help, whether that be sort of online chatting. It's really important we look after ourselves all at the moment. When we're talking about our health, it's not just our physical health, it's our mental health as well, because we all know that this pandemic has caused a huge
I feel like there's been a massive spike, hasn't it,
massive spike in mental health.
anxiety.
You know, this now what we're going through again is not going to help it at all. So speak to people, reach out. There's lots of people in the same boat, so don't suffer in silence. So tomorrow, on a bit more of a cheery note, we are going to do a Christmas quiz. So you can jump online at 10:30, and it'll be me and the team, and I'm going to be quiz master. I'm going to be all Christmased up, quiz master.
Yeah. My jumper arrived yesterday.
Oh,
I'll be wearing that tomorrow.
Rachel's jumper's here. I'm going to have my Christmas jumper on, and maybe some of the little Christmas festivity things. But come along and join us. If you fancy actually being visible online, I can always add you to the studio. If you fancy joining along that way, just drop me a message. And if not, have a great day today. It's Thursday. We are only 9 sleeps away from Christmas. And yeah, I know, sorry, did that scare you then?
Oh my God, I haven't bought presents.
Oh, I'm all done, so I'm okay. Rachel's going to be panicking now. 9 sleeps. But have a great day, everyone, and we will see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.